Hello everybody, this is a video response to Dorphatan, which is my second video response to one of his videos. I don't watch his videos, I just kind of run into them. The last one I just kind of found, and this one I just kind of ran into. The title of the video is How to Prove God Doesn't Exist in 3 minutes or less. He says that this is one of the greatest arguments for the non-existence of God, not only the Judeo-Christian God, but any God. That's pretty sad because this video is an epic fail. Then perhaps maybe it, instead of proves that there is no God, it would prove that there is an actual God. Now, just like with the last video, Dorphatan has these presuppositions that he sticks to, and those are the only thing that's available. This is his reality, and therefore what he says is so because his reality is true. And part of his reality is that the universe is all that is entailed in existence. When you say existence, you mean universe and universe only, and that's the only option available. That is completely false. In fact, using the word existence, as I said in the last video, is a very bad term to use in any argument because existence can mean anything. In fact, let's take a look at one of his examples as to why the universe is the only thing that is entailed in existence. To say that something can exist outside the universe is to commit the fallacy of soul and concept. The universe is that which contains existence, things that exist. To claim that something exists outside the universe is to steal the concept of existence and apply it to something external to itself, which is fallacious, since one could only appeal to existence, again, redundantly. Well, first of all, you would have to show that the original idea of existence way back thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago is the universe and universe only, and you would have a hard time doing that because people always believed in gods, one god or another, and that they exist outside the universe. I don't think the concept was stolen. But let's use an example here. The fish. There's a fish, and the fish tells the other fish that all of existence is the body of water that which they're in. Is the fish correct? To say that there is land outside of the water, even trees outside of the water, or say animals outside of the water, is to steal the idea of existence because all they know is the body of water. Is the fish wrong? Yes, the fish is wrong. Dorphatan is the fish. It's also very interesting to me that in his notes he tries to use, or wants to use, quantum mechanics to show that the universe is all that is entailed in existence. This is very interesting because everybody else is using quantum mechanics to try to show that there's a multiverse. That's their way of arguing against the fine-tuning argument. But Dorphatan wants to use it to show that there is only but one universe, and I think that's just very interesting. For what very little I know about quantum mechanics is very confusing, very difficult to understand. In some ways it contradicts itself. There's a lot of problems with it, and you can't really use it as solid proof for really anything as far as I know. It's just interesting to me how Dorphatan wants to use it and how everybody else is using it. Just leave that at that. The other presupposition that he has is infinity. To him, infinity is basically a blanket word that covers any kind of type of infinity that there can be. Can there be different ways of being infinite? Yes, I think that there is. But to him, there's just infinity, and that's that. And that's a bad definition for infinity. When we say an actual infinite is impossible, what we are talking about is quantitative infinity, numerical. An actual number or series of infinity is impossible. Say, for example, you have an infinite distance. An infinite distance has the same number of inches as it does feet, has the same number of yards as it has feet and inches, it has the same number of miles as it has inches, yards, and feet. So it is very contradictory. It doesn't work. Which, by the way, those numbers are all infinite. An infinite number of inches, an infinite number of feet, and so on and so forth. So an actual infinite distance is impossible. An infinite regress is impossible because it's a series of causes. There can't be an infinite regression of causes because that's a numerical series of causes. So there has to be an uncaused cause out there somewhere. Whatever that is, that's debatable, obviously. I think it's God. You might think it's some kind of machine that produces universes, which is what the quantum mechanic whole multiverse thing is all about. But there has to be an uncaused cause, an eternal thing somewhere, which means there is an infinite something out there. So this leads to a question: if an actual infinity is impossible, then what kind of infinity is God? When we say God is an infinite or an infinity, what do we mean? Well, it just so happens that this question was asked to William Lane Craig, and he gives a brilliant answer. And since he's way smarter than me, I'm going to let him handle it. It's question number 106 on his website, which I'll have a link, which is that way, whichever way the information box is. There'll be a link, and you can go directly to it and just read the thing. Otherwise, I'm going to read just a section of it real quick for you and leave it at that. Okay, so here's part of William Lane Craig's answer to this question. Rather, the key to your question is to understand that the mathematical notion of an actual infinite is a quantitative concept. It concerns a collection of definite and discrete elements that are members of the collection, but when theologians speak of the infinity of God, they are not using the word in a mathematical sense to refer to an aggregate of an infinite number of elements. God's infinity is, as it were, qualitative, not quantitative, and means that God is metaphysically necessary, morally perfect, and omnipotent, omniscient, eternal, and so on. Really, infinite is just a sort of umbrella term used to cover all of God's superlative attributes. If you abstract away all of those attributes, there really isn't any distinct attribute called infinity left over. But none of those attributes need involve an infinite number of things. And it goes from there. And he addresses that God is still not a finite thing. So question 106, just follow the link. I think it'll be that way. And there you go. There's the answer. So have a good day. God bless. And try not to stick to those presuppositions so much there, Dorphatan. There's actually two more things I want to address real quick. He says in his notes two things. One, an actual infinity violates law of identity. Now, I'm not the smartest guy on the planet, but in what way would it violate the law of identity? Infinity equals infinity seems just fine to me. If, say, the universe was eternal, then universe equals universe, eternal universe equals eternal universe, God equals God. Doesn't seem to violate the law of identity at all, as far as I can tell. And the other issue is existence by nature is limitation. Well, yeah, I mean, existence probably has a boundary, but the problem here is the boundary you're giving it. You have an incorrect boundary, and you have no way to prove your boundary. So there you go. So it is limitation, but it's the wrong limitation. You're giving it the wrong limitation, just like the fish in the body of water thinks that the body of water is all that exists. The fish is wrong. You're wrong.